good friend of mine. He is a head of supply chain. The company doesn't have a chief supply chain officer in the board. Because of COVID, he started getting invited at the board meetings. And they would ask him what's going on. Typically, you don't get invited to be praised, you get invited to be bashed, asked the hard questions. He was asked a lot of questions around production, around so on, and he was telling me how he found himself explaining to the board how his plan is to optimize the inventory, to move inventory from China into a bonded warehouse, and so on. He could look at them in the eyes and see that he's completely losing them because he was using the wrong language. And at the same time, he was telling me, I could not stop myself, Radu. I could not stop using the same language that I'm being used in my department. And of course, I realized that I lost them, but that was my fault. What happened after? A few weeks later, he stopped being called into the board meetings. And that, I think, is the part, or the why we put this, the biggest why we put this book together. It's not necessarily that all supply chain professionals need to be CEOs, but all supply chain professionals, at least in our view, should know how to tell the narrative, how to share with the business, how they add value to the business in the business language, because that ultimately will give influencing power for the decisions, for the teams, for the budgets, and so on. And we'll go into it in a moment. All these 26 contributors that we had, they have different backgrounds, different careers, ethnicities, genders, very different people. And ultimately, their careers are quite different. But the chain model, which is the model that we're going to share with you, has come out as the common thread, if you want, of what are the 5 elements that all of them said are important in order to become and be a great leader, whether it is in supply chain, whether it's as a CEO, as a board member. So,
here you are.
Here you are. It's the cheat sheet of the book. Though I would definitely recommend you're going to get a copy that you read it. And also just as a disclaimer, when we started the journey on the book, we specifically set out to make it extremely easy to read. You will not find any formulas of supply chain in this book. If you're looking for that, it's not in this book. My daughter, who's 11, is reading the book. She's very pissed with me that she's not in the book. She has no self-esteem issues whatsoever, but she's understanding the book. And that was the intent. The intent was, in the community of supply chain, too many times we make it overly complex. Actually, simplification is the ultimate sophistication. Make it so simple that a kid understands it. That's the ultimate goal. Now, I'm not saying supply chain is simple. It's not. But when you explain it to somebody that's outside of supply chain, that should be the goal. So, chain model.
And there was one, if I can just add on the simplicity, there was one in the interview, very interesting contributor. She said, look, I explained supply chain to my mom, and in all of these crazy days and crazy time, it feels like she gets it, right? Because she heard about this hurricane and she called me in the morning and asked me whether we can deliver to our customers. So she really understands now. And this is the level that you want to get to, that everyone understands these complex things. So language is super, super important.
So chain model. C stands for collaboration. Collaborative is a key trait of a great leader. Now, that's a buzzword, 100%. I don't know how many times you've probably heard it. Absolutely. So the key is not, or the question to you is not whether you know this or not. The key is whether do you do it or not. And collaboration is twofold. On one side, you have collaboration within. So for those of you who are within companies, within departments, within the different functions of the company. First, so internal collaboration and then external collaboration. So I'll talk first about internal collaboration. Maybe just to spice things up, let's start from an example of how not to do it. So if I can ask the team now to play the video, which some of you may know, but just have a look at how not to do it first.
But I can't trust him. I feel like he doesn't respect or appreciate all the things I do for him.
What?
Hold on. Let's let her finish expressing how she feels.
Well, let's start by looking at the forecasts he provides me. They are extremely inaccurate. He knows. It's a never-ending headache when dealing with inventory and service levels, but he just doesn't care.
I get grief about my forecasts at every one of our meetings. Believe me, I wish I had time to provide her with the information she needs. But how about some appreciation for the revenue that I bring in, huh?
Well, how about showing some appreciation for what I do? You have no idea how complex it is to plan and manage new product introductions, distributions, procurement, and also delivering what you need so that you can focus on selling. All I'm asking for is a little more consideration, future warnings, and accurate forecasts.
I want this to work. You know that. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. We just want to make a little profit.
Okay.
Anybody experience this? Show of hands, a few. So this is how not to do it, is the ultimate sales versus supply chain conundrum.